Have you ever been called angry when all you did was finally speak up? They saw your frustration, they heard your voice crack, and just like that, you were the problem. But no one asked who pushed you there, who kept ignoring your boundaries, who triggered your pain and stayed silent, calm, and untouchable. This world judges a woman not by what she's endured, but by how loudly she reacts to it. And today, we're done letting the calm manipulator walk free while the wounded woman gets blamed. These 7 soul awakenings will help you respond, not react, so you can stand up without being called too emotional. Welcome back, beautiful souls. This is SoulStrength, where women rise, heal, and remember who you truly are. Let's begin. 1. Your anger is not the problem. It's the signal. Your anger is not what makes you too much. It's what tells you something isn't right. That a boundary has been crossed, your worth has been ignored, or your voice has been silenced for too long. But society doesn't like a woman who expresses anger. It calls her emotional, dramatic, or unstable, while excusing the person who triggered her silence, her pain, and her explosion. This awakening begins with reclaiming your right to feel. You don't need to apologize for being angry. You need to listen to what it's trying to tell you. When you stop seeing your anger as a flaw and start seeing it as a messenger, you take your power back, calmly, clearly, and with dignity. Because anger, unprocessed, becomes destruction, but anger, understood, becomes direction. 2. Silence is a manipulation tool. Don't mistake it for maturity. You're not the problem because you raised your voice. Sometimes the calm one is the most dangerous person in the room. They know exactly how to trigger you, and then stay silent so you look unstable. They don't yell, they ghost, they withhold affection. They say, "I didn't mean it that way," when you call out disrespect. In a generation that plays games through WhatsApp texts, scene zones, and passive aggression, silence is a weapon. This awakening is about seeing through it. Not everyone who stays calm is wise. Some are just skilled at looking innocent while they twist your emotions. And you're done falling for that. Set 3. You were raised to be likable, not powerful. From childhood, it was about being sweet, polite, smiling, even when uncomfortable. You learned to say it's okay when it wasn't, to laugh off the insult, to avoid the fight, to keep the peace, even if it meant breaking yourself inside. They raised you to be liked, not to be heard. And now, you're exhausted from making everyone else comfortable while your truth stays buried under layers of politeness. You shrink, you soften, you smile, not because you're weak, but because they trained you to believe your strength would cost you love. Being powerful was never the problem, being silenced was. But now you see it. Every time you've been nice, someone else got away with crossing the line, and you're done watching your own silence protect people who never protected your heart. This is your awakening. You're no longer here to be liked, you're here to be heard. So 4, you can set boundaries without being cold. You've been taught that saying no makes you harsh, so you soften your words, over-explain, and try to sound gentle even when you're hurting. But here's the truth. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are clarity. They say, I value my energy too much to let it be drained. You can love someone and still walk away. You can be kind and still be firm. This awakening is your reminder. Being clear about your limits is not mean. It's how you teach the world to treat you. Because when you don't draw the line, someone else decides where it ends. When you don't protect your peace, someone else profits from your silence. Boundaries don't push people away. They show you who's willing to come closer with respect. Set 5. They expect you to break, so they don't have to reflect. Some people know exactly how to push you, and then act surprised when you snap. Because if you yell, cry, or lose it, they get to point at your reaction instead of their behavior. It's a trap, and you've lived in it long enough. This awakening is about seeing through the game. You are not dramatic. You're just done carrying what they refuse to own. Now, you pause. You choose your words. You stand your ground. Because when you stop reacting, they're finally left to face what they did. They don't want your silence. They want your explosion, so they can blame you for the smoke. Let your calm become the storm they never saw coming, not loud but unshakable. You don't need to scream to make a point. Your presence, your truth, and your restraint are louder than noise. 6. Not everyone deserves full access to you. You give your energy like it's endless. You explain yourself to people who already know they're hurting you. But here's your truth now. Access to you is a privilege, not a guarantee. You don't have to answer every call. You don't have to justify every boundary. You don't have to be available just because someone wants a piece of your peace. This awakening is about protecting your time, your energy, your heart, and only letting in those who treat it like something sacred. You are not a 24/7 emotional service line. You are a woman with limits, needs, and value. If someone gets upset when you protect your peace, they were never for you, they were for your open door. Stop giving VIP access to people who only show up when it's easy for them. 7. You're not too much. They were just never enough. You've been called too sensitive, too dramatic, too intense, and for years you believed them, tried to quiet your voice, shrink your feelings, numb your intuition. But here's the truth. You are not too much. You are deeply alive. You notice what others ignore. You feel what others run from. And that kind of truth makes some people uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, but because you're real. Your depth isn't a burden. It's your brilliance. And from now on, you will stop apologizing for showing up fully. You were never too much. They were just never ready. Final message. You were never the problem. Not your anger, not your voice, not your truth. You were simply surrounded by people who benefited from your silence. But today, that version of you, the one who swallowed pain just to keep the peace, is no longer in charge. You no longer need to scream to be heard or stay silent to be respected. You just need to stand, fully in your soul, fully in your truth, and fully on your side. Let them call you emotional. Let them say you've changed, because you have. You've awakened. And from this moment forward, you don't just respond, you rise.